financial system of Zimbabwe, monetary supply. This one in the middle is the mainstream formal economy that we know that's in the banks. It's worth between 2.2 and 2.4 billion dollars today. That's the entire deposits of our banking system in Zimbabwe. And the economy of 50 billion that's existing in the ecosystem is being funded partly from this formal banking system of 2 billion. The other one that we don't know is the cash in the circulation of the market, USD. I estimate it to be double the size. The bankers may say it's equal, but I would say between 2 and 4 billion US dollars. So these two things are working together in the economy to grow this $50 billion economy. If it's a total of 4 billion, it's not enough to finance a $50 billion economy. And the fourth element is the mortgages that you asked. But let's deal with the elephant in the room, this little amount. By the way, these glasses are full. This one is full to the capacity of 2 billion, this one is full to the capacity of 4 billion. This little glass with that little drop in it is called ZiG, because they put $80 million, they converted RTGS into ZiG with about $80 million. $80 million divided by 20 million people is $4 each. No one will dispute that $4 in your pocket can do nothing. 80 million in economy of 50 billion can do nothing. 80 million versus 6 billion is nothing. So we are focusing on nothing at the moment because this ZiG is not big enough to contribute to the growth of the economy, number one. Number two, government has said they're going to be disciplined not to do any quantitative easing by printing money. And by them resisting the temptation to print, it's correct to hold the value of the currency. So I believe this currency will hold its value because it is backed by real reserves, by real currency. But the disadvantage of not printing is that this currency cannot do very much to this economy. So our focus, instead of being on this little bit of drop, should be on the big two reservoirs. How do we grow this 2 billion into perhaps 10 billion? And this maybe into 10 billion as well. So we have now 20 billion in circulation. When we're able to do that, the mortgages that are sitting in here that's almost smaller than this little drop of mortgages can grow. Because the problem in the banking sector, all the money that's been putting into here is not long-term deposits. It's short-term money. So the banks are restricted to lend it out onto a long-term basis because they cannot afford a run on the bank where depositors come and say, I want my money, and they don't have the money to pay out. So the banks are restricted to lend. The informal economy is very difficult to tap into. So the only answer to the long-term solution of this economy is how do we introduce more mortgages and more formal money in the system. When those two things are solved, the economy will balloon. It will actually be a phenomenal growth to take us to 150 to 250 billion dollars, which is possible in the next 5 to 10 years, which is the vision of the president of an upper middle income economy. But it requires government and all stakeholders, including private sector, to focus on the real thing that we should be focused on, which is growing the formal supply of US dollars in Zimbabwe. It's very controversial. Many people will disagree with it, but that's my theory.